All right, everybody, welcome to the Point 5 Show, the bonus show / overflow show of the Pennymon Doctrine podcast. With us today are some wonderful guests, some guests that I should have had on a long time ago. I call them my wonderful benefactors of the netrootsradio.com, because without them, we would not be streaming live on the weekends on netrootsradio.com. So today, Molly, do you have something you want to say?
I was just going to say our. You always say my or I, so I was just going to correct you.
Oh, so what's up, Molly? How are you?
Great.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm trying not to look at myself.
Oh, well, look at the camera thing.
I know, it's so awkward.
Right there.
I know where to look.
Okay. So without further ado, we have Wink and Justice from Netroots Radio. We have Wink, who is the station manager. I got that right?
Yep.
Okay, and then we have Justice, who is the program director of Netroots Radio, and they also together, because they do so much stuff, but together they have a show that you can stream or get on wherever you get your podcast, The After Show, which is a wonderful show, a show that I frequent a lot, especially on Thursdays, because I love me some Arliss Bunny. We'll get into that. But what's going on, guys? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Great to be here.
Awesome.
Nice to finally have you, John. Took long enough.
Yeah, this is Wink, by the way, and the other guy is Justice. Just so you can tell voices. Justice is the guy that you can actually see.
I get it. I was like, did John say his name now?
No. The cool thing about Google Hangouts is I don't have to man the camera. Whoever is speaking the loudest gets the camera. So if you want to be seen, just say hello, and then your voice, and then your picture pops up. So try it out, Justice.
I'll certainly remember that.
See?
There he is.
Okay, sorry. Had a little bit of movement behind me, but I guess it moved away. Yeah.
No, it's all good, man.
It's great to be here, and it's also wonderful to have you guys on our show. As my capacity of a program director, I'm out researching and finding good talent, people that have voices and have something to say, and I just stumbled on you guys. I mean, it was like Providence, and so I listened to your show a few times, and I really like what I heard, and I'm so glad that you guys are still doing this, because
absolutely
you've been doing it for a little bit, and good for you for the perseverance. So, and thank you for being on our little network.
Yes.
Well, we thank you for having us.
Yes, and as far as perseverance goes, it's one of those type of things where, if given the opportunity, I let people know that this is my end-all, be-all. I don't care where I am, how I'm doing financially, whatever. If I'm not behind a microphone talking to people about shit, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, and I'll lose my mind if he doesn't get his fix.
There you go. See?
Works well. It works very well.
And the thing is
very true.
You guys, the dynamic between the two of you just makes for great radio. I mean, a great show in any kind of platform. But since we're radio, I mean, I'm always looking for that. And when I say voices, I mean personality too. I mean, it's not just the physicality of the voice, which you guys both bring to radio. I mean, it's just a great package to have it all together. But the topics that you guys choose and the different points of view, I mean, Molly just off camera mentioned that she's not into the politicky thing. I wouldn't know that by listening to the radio show, because you bring so much from one side of that viewpoint to what John is talking about. It really, I mean, this term intersection is personified in what you guys do. So that's another thing that appealed to me, and I'm so glad that we have you on our station. So there.
Well, that makes me feel really good. Thank you.
Yeah, and because I'm eternally grateful, I remember exactly what happened. I was having a conversation with Sam Cedar on Twitter, and then you popped up. And you're like, oh, we've been listening to your show. Would you like to be on Netroots Radio? And I was like, Mom, look at this.
Talk about flipping out. And then the first time he heard it, I was up at his job. I don't know why I was there, but I was up at his job, and he was like flipping out, and the customers, like remember you were helping that one guy with the lisp? Funny guy. But he was like, I was just waiting for him to like jump over the desk.
Good.
And do something crazy. So
I mean, it's a bit reciprocated too, because wherever we go publicly, like when we go to Networks Nation or when we go to other events and things where we're like in the public, people presume that we have like a little like building that we work out of, maybe multi-floors with a staff of hundreds, which kind of makes us laugh because we don't. I mean, we kind of think of ourselves as two cans and a string, but that's just us being modest, because what we've done is that we all have some radio background or more. I was in film and television production for a little bit too, so we want to bring the most professional, high-grade product that has the most compelling content, and so it's just nice to hear that, wow, somebody was jumping over a desk because what we do. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, and then having the ability to, because sometimes I especially now recently since I'm unemployed.
He's home way too much.
I'm
not doing enough cleaning.
Cleaning? What's that?
I mean, I'm just
yes, I know all about that.
Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do when I'm here? I'm not supposed to listen to podcasts and play FIFA all day?
You can listen to podcasts and clean. The beauty of podcasts.
But you can't play FIFA and clean. So
there is that.
Anyway, but sometimes I burn up all my list of shows. So it's always great to be able to get some shows that I definitely would love listening to, but I don't have them on stream, or I don't have XM or whatever it is, and still be able to listen to radio that appeals to my emotion, I guess. I don't know, because I mean we'll probably get into it, but I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, especially earlier on in my podcast venture. I would listen to everything to get a point of view, but after a while, I kind of got sick of hearing a certain point of view, because no matter what they try to say, they always come off as ignorant and racist. I mean, they can say they're not racist as much as they want to, but growing up, black kid in suburban Cleveland, Ohio, you hear it all, and you kind of read in between the lines. So when you hear in between the lines on the media that you would like to consume, or the platform that you like to consume, it's a little bit better to find something else that people are saying. So with that, tell everybody about the after show and how that came about and what that's about, because I mean I can't really say too much to hype it up besides you better fucking listen to it because it's shit.
Thanks for that. Yeah. Well, we became the after show because we're facilitators of David Waldman's Kagro in the Morning Show, and he used to be known as Kagro X, front pager of some renown on Daily Kos, which we all are from as well. We're all Daily Kos types. And Armando and Ministry of Truth had an hour after that, but they got so busy, Armando being a appellate lawyer and a copyright lawyer, he got so busy, and then Ministry of Truth, I mean, he was on MSNBC and doing all sorts of stuff, and so they just couldn't do that hour a lot, and so we had an hour to fill between David's show and our live feeds like Hartman, and so we decided, and I'm fairly busy myself too, so, but that was an hour in the morning that I could commit to, and so we decided to put some show together, and decided I would kind of riff on some of the old things that always cracked me up. Everybody does a news read, but I wanted to do a news read that was a little bit edgier. And then we got our production well enough that we decided that we could start interviewing people or having people on as guests on what I call the last half. So the first part of the show is called All the News That's Fit to Read and In This Reporter's Opinion. And you guys being out in Cleveland, Ohio, you wouldn't know of this personality, but there was a right-wing radio and TV host in Southern California by the name of George Putnam. And that was his tagline in this report.
Oh, I've actually heard of George Putnam before.
There you go. Well, I'm related to him, and he's dead. And I figured I'd just steal that tagline. He's dead. He can't whine about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's kind of like Get Back, you know. So, and we've been told that we're a counter to the shock jock, the morning drive time shock jock thing. So I thought, okay, I can do that. I used to be an actual jock, and I always hated shock jocks. And what would I do if I got in a position to be one? And this is the avenue that I've decided to go with. So,
I mean, the only thing that I would say that's shock jockey about you is how you kind of over articulate some words from here and there, and your impressions top notch.
Well, not bad, yeah, not bad at all. Yeah, pretty good, I think as well.
That's shtick, and my Hollywood relatives always said, speak in a soliloquy and carry a big shtick. And so I took it to heart, and that's what I do.
Yeah, got to have the shtick. There's no question about that.
And speaking of the soliloquy means that you keep talking and no one else can. So.
Hey, when you need to do your Bill O'Reilly, you make sure you do your Bill O'Reilly. I need to work on that, especially when I have multiple guests on doing a roundtable type show. I need to be like, hey, we're fucking doing it live.
And what I do, since I have to get up fairly early to take care of David Waldman's show, just basically to monitor to make sure it's happening and the stream is still connected and all of that. That's when I start prepping for the after show, and a theme sort of presents itself each day. Maybe one day it might be all police, something to do with police, and some other time it might be reproductive health. Another time it might be just some international thing that just caught my eye. And so we take I don't know, about 20 minutes to do that, and then we go to a little break in the middle there at what we call the last half, and then we interview folks that I try to get things timely. It would be more efficient if I was booking people like weeks or months in advance, but I don't know what the news story is going to be then. And I don't know if now with authors and actors and directors and composers, that's a little bit different because they'll have book releases or a movie release, and we'll get them on to so I can do that at any time. But when I'm interviewing reporters and analysts, I just don't know what the news is going to be, and I like to have things fresh. I don't like to have things stale or old news, and so it's a bit of work, and of course we're not getting paid for it. Kind of sucks. So I was thinking if we could just lie a little bit more and intimidate, maybe like the Heritage Foundation would throw us some money. We're not getting it from Soros, I'll say that.
Yeah, we get it from the Heritage Foundation. That's a.
We just have to suspend our morality and learn how to lie.
That's tough because Molly says I beg too much, and
he does. You guys hear the show?
It's sad because on our side, meaning the progressive, liberal, the side against authoritarianism, I wouldn't call it necessarily begging, though in essence that's true. It's really what it is. But that's what we have to do, because we can only pull out of our pockets so much, as you probably know. So any bit of largesse that might be thrown our way, don't belittle it. And sometimes that's just people need to be reminded. So, I mean, like I said, some people think that we have a high rise.
Right.
We're just working out of our houses.
Yep. Yep, just like everybody
so
else.
Wink, how did you and Justice come together? Because I know Justice is the program director and you're the station manager and everything. How did you two come together where you're actually doing the after show together? Is it kind of like the same story, or is it a little different?
No, it's a little different. We actually started the station in Valentine's Day of 2011. It was February 14th is when our first broadcast, so to speak, with a bunch of guys, and Justice wasn't with us yet, but I kept following his blog on Daily Coast, which was a music blog. I'm a music guy, really. I DJ on Second Life. I spent some tunes there, but so I said, hey, this guy's got a pretty good sense of music. I like his style, music style. He's diverse, not the same old song or whatever. Comes up with some stuff from Mars, basically. A lot of this music stuff that he comes up with. He's just got a great eclectic thing for music. And I said, we need a music guy on our on our show here. So we approached him anyway. I don't know if it was me or somebody else from the station approached him and said, hey, think about getting with us or something, tagging along with us. And he did. Thank the gods for that. And the program director thing came a little bit later, a month or two later, down the road when he decided we could go maybe 24/7 rather than 4 or 5, 6 hours a day, just do the whole thing 24/7. And I said, man, I don't have time to do 24/7. I barely have time to do 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. But he figured out how to do it. So. And that's all. I just kind of snagged him from Daily Coast, really. And well, I don't know if it was myself personally or one of the other guys, but I was the one that I know that followed the blog and mentioned him. They said we got to get this Justice guy, and we did. and the rest, as they say, is history. But as far as the after show, as Justice says, it was just a case of filling an hour of space between David Wallman's the Kagro X Kagro in the Morning show and. We got this blank hour in between there, so we had to fill it with something. I said, well, we'll just do it live. We'll just do our own live show there. And that's how that happened. Basically, Justice had said, "Kate, Wink, can you do an hour in the morning kind of thing?" I said, "Yeah, I can do an hour in the morning." And that's how that started. But Justice propagated that, I guess you'd say. But it was just a matter of filling some time live with live radio rather than something else that we had, stored away somewhere to bridge the gap between Kagro X and Hartman or whoever else we had on at the time for the from the podcast from other people that we were presenting, and we basically present a lot of podcasts 24/7, but we try to bring as much live into Networks Radio as we can, and I do a nightly show a couple times a week, 3 times a week now, and of course then we have the morning show as well. So it's just the more live we can bring in there, the better, I think. So
yeah, Wink has his own, and actually his show is the oldest show on Networks Radio.
Right, Jibber Your Jabber, yeah.
Jibber Your Jabber, and that's on Sunday nights from 9 until midnight Pacific and midnight to 3 on the East Coast. And then he also does it on Wednesday at the same times.
Yeah.
And then when the station first started and we decided that we could go 24/7, we thought that we might model like a staff show around some of the public television and radio shows that are in each community. So there's always like the director's call-in show or whatever. So we thought we could try to do something like that, but we wanted to have fun with it. So it's an hour on Saturday, and that's called the Roundtable Roundhouse Power Hour. I have this thing for titles.
That's a name.
Yeah. So Roundtable Roundhouse Power Hour. And it kind of, and because the staff, the group here at Networks Radio, we're quite diverse and spread out around the world as well, and we're partnered with the San Carlos Apache Indian tribe in Arizona, and so the Roundhouse is sort of like a nod to Apache there.
Yep.
And then the round table is like, that's where you air things out, right? And we wanted a power hour, but not all of the staff can make it on Saturday, and so pretty much it's Wink and Kelly, also known as Roaring Girl, so they have that hour. And you can hear a Wink on there as well. And I should mention that Kelly also has a show. She's out of New York in Manhattan, and she's been, she is an equity actor, been on the stage, comedian, mime. She was in Ren Fairs out here on the West Coast quite a bit. And I'm sorry, let me turn that off. Okay. Saw a little bit of glare in the back. And so she has a show on Saturdays at 3 p.m. And sometimes it's live, and sometimes it's what's called the director's choice. So I have a slew of her shows that date to like 2003. And she's interviewed some of the most famous actors, actresses, producers, directors, screenplay writers, librettists, for the opera. So she has a lot of contacts, and she really hones in on the craft. So that's a great show to check out as well.
And I was going to say, is that the show that I was on this last Sunday, and then it was because you mentioned Kelly.
It was Saturday. I mean, it was Sunday. That would have been
Saturday?
a great show.
It was the Saturday night
Saturday would have been the Roundhouse Power
Was it?
Hour.
Yeah, that was the one you were on. Yeah, you were on that one.
That's on at 8 o'clock.
Saturday midnight. Because I said, I asked
midnight.
John, I said, if you're still up and still awake, join us on the show. Basically.
Yeah, that goes for an hour, and actually that hour goes pretty quick. But yeah.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, it flies by. Yeah.
But yeah, I had a great time on that show, and I must say that what was fun about it was Kelly made me feel like not the smartest in the room, even though I knew what she was talking about. Right. The way that she would articulate it just I felt like I was out of my league, which kind of puts me on my game. Like, two things put me on my game: when people say stupid shit, and when people say like super profound, like super heady type stuff, and I'm like, yes.
Well,
she really knows that subject matter.
Kelly didn't name herself the Roaring Girl for nothing.
I got you. And like I was saying when I hopped on, she was talking about some acting stuff when I first came on. Right. And if she knows any voice acting contacts, well, I'll make a little demo
But you know as well as I do, that's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah.
The only other thing I can give as encouragement, just keep at it, keep making sound files, get a portfolio together, talk yourself up. That's all you can do. But it's hard. I mean, there's people that have been doing it for ages, and they're scrambling for work too. And once they get it, they want to give it up.
I mean, that's kind of why I want to create my own thing. I'm trying to fix my thing over here. Sorry.
That's cool.
That's why I want to try to create my own thing where, but I don't know how to animate. I don't know any animators. Yeah. As far as like a cartoon type of voiceover type show. And then, I'm in Ohio, so there's barely anything out here either unless I move to LA. And then, I definitely would love to get into anime because there's so many animes and you can only have the same voices on so many times.
A lot of times voiceovers are through advertising agencies, and they usually have some in-house people, but they might, depending on the economy and how busy people are, sometimes their in-house people are all booked up and they'll take a freelancer or two. So it's always good to let people know that you're available.
Yeah, we're lucky we got Fripp, and he does a little bit of that. Plus he does a little bit of the advertising part of it, and he does all our promos, and he's got the voice for that. And he's been, that's what he does for a living. So I mean, we were lucky to get Fripp to do that. I mean, he was just another guy that we added to this crew that had the talent to do it.
Yeah,
like I say, it's amazing that the talent we've amassed, I guess you'd say. There's only 4 or 5, 6 of us, but we bring a little bit. Everybody brings something to the table, as they say. So, it's pretty good.
Yeah, you got a nice little collective over there.
We do
actually.
But I should emphasize, or I want to reemphasize that we came together because of our affiliations on Daily Co's. That was where we all sort of found each other.
That was the central point, yeah, no question.
Yeah, I was and continue to be the poetry editor on Black Co's, which is a sub-community on Daily Co's, and it's that whole blog and diary is addressing the Black diaspora, and I've always been, I have my education is in the liberal arts, so history and English as an undergrad, and then I got a master's in American Lit. So I've always been interested in literature, and when I was just visiting Black Co's and commenting, I would bring in what I would consider. See, I think there's a dearth of women of color in literature. Not that there's a dearth of them, but there's a lot, but they don't get their due. And so everybody can recite Langston Hughes, but how many people know Lucille Clifton? Well, a lot more do than we actually give credit for. But I wanted to give people the more obscure than a Lucille Clifton and a Natasha Trethewey. So I just would put in these poems into the comment section of the diary, and David and Denise, who are the editors there, asked me to have a whole section there, and so I tried to bring in what's cool about the Black diaspora It's everywhere. I mean, we think of the banjo as being like from, the Irish bringing it to the Appalachians. Well, the banjo comes from Africa. So the diaspora reaches everywhere. So it's easy for me. If I run out of because I try not to repeat too much. So I can draw from Brazil, I can draw from Peru, I can draw from every part of Africa, I can draw from even the Southeast Asia. I mean, the diaspora reaches there, it reaches everywhere. So out of that, Daily Codes had started upgrading their platform, and it allowed us at one point to be able to embed sound files like YouTube's and YouTube embeds. Yep. And I started doing a thing called Late Night in the Justice Department, or Black Codes Presents Late Night in the Justice Department. I would post these embeds as a diary, and Wink said I have an eclectic interest in music, which I do. I used to play, or tried to play professionally, and I've been in radio, terrestrial radio before, where we actually spun discs and played carts and stuff, and had to do the whole FCC signing off and all that. And so Wink discovered that those music diaries I was putting up, they came out of just because we were able to entertain ourselves, and I wanted to put some really offbeat, eclectic, travel around the world music lists, a progression there, and Wink noticed that, and then he told another one of the guys there that started off Netroots Radio, who's known as Yuri, and Yuri was and continues to be a known person on Black Codes too, and so he and Julie, who was no longer with us because she's too busy doing her terrestrial radio gig in Michigan. She's Juliana Michigan. Is that how? That's what DJ handle. Yeah. So they approached me and introduced me to Wink, and Wink said hi a couple of times. In fact, I think you even, when you started the radio group, there was an invite, but I was just so busy doing things I couldn't really respond. So you guys were doing stuff for a few months before you approached me.
Yeah.
And so
we were busy trying to get our act together too.
And as Wink said, I came in just doing a music show. The Justice Department, Music Sans Frontières, Music Without Borders. And so I just started off doing a couple of music shows, a 3-hour show on Mondays and a 1-hour show on Sundays. And it didn't take too long where I found out that, it wouldn't be too hard to just do this 24/7. I mean, we have the software for it. There's a lot of auto DJ stuff. We don't necessarily have to be licensed. We're internet radio. We don't have to have somebody sitting at the microphone 24/7. You can leave the room, which you can't do in terrestrial radio. I mean, if you're licensed, you can't just leave the studio and let things go. You actually have to have somebody there. So it just seemed logical. That's what we could do. And Juliana, who had contacts in terrestrial radio, introduced me to some of the people that she had been talking to out in the world. And so she contacted Amy Goodman, and Amy Goodman was the first outside show that we came. And Amy was so generous. I mean, she said, yes.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Yeah.
And I had a bunch of friends at Pacifica Radio, and they said I could use some of their shows, and then we just started building, and then after a while, people started asking us to be on the station.
Right.
And it kind of grew organically, and probably a bit slower in some ways than we thought would happen, and quicker in other ways, because we found out that we had to upgrade our platform a lot more than we had anticipated. So that's always a sign. That's a sign of success right there. So, yeah. And I don't know. We all just decided, come hell or high water, we're just going to make this work and keep it going and not have any downtime.
That's what's up, man. Well, I mean, the story is definitely interesting, but in terms of trying to format things the way I like to be formatted, sorry, YouTubers, this is going to be the end of the show for you. But if you would like to check out the rest of the conversation that Molly and I, Wink and Justice, will have, you can check out the feed, thepennymondoctrine.blogspot.com, podomatic.com/thepennymondoctrine. Check us out on the apps, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Podomatic, and XM Live. So with that, we'll bid you adieu. But if you're listening to the live or to the recorded podcast, we will begin here in just a few seconds.